friends. This is Pastor Benjamin Faircloth of Ignited Church in LAVONIA, Georgia, and I want to welcome you to the Ignited Life Now broadcast. I have a very special guest with me, my wife, Jennifer.
Hi, it's good to be here.
Amen. It's been a long time since she's been in the studio with me, and so we wanted to get together tonight and present to you some headlines and some things that are really pressing in our spirits, and a little bit of inside information concerning the economy that you may not hear in the news feeds through the mainstream media, but we want to share that with you. But before we do that, I just want to talk to you about Cuba. As you know, Cuba is really huge in our heart.
Yes.
We've done a lot of ministry work there. Oh man, for the past 10 years, maybe 14 years. Wow, it's been that long. I've been there over 20 plus times, taken a lot of different team members with us, executives and businesses, executive pastors, and just people who love the Lord. And so, you know, we've had a great time down there and a great ministry down there, and we continue to do so. But as you've been reading the conflict that's going down there in Venezuela and the pressure that's being placed on Cuba through the Trump administration, what a lot of people don't get to hear and understand is the human cost and the human tragedy to that. And I'll give you some private email information that we received from some folks that are down there whom we support. But this article right here from AP says Cuba launches a widespread rationing in the face of crisis. And as you read this, Cuba is about to go back to the special period of time. It was called the special period. It was a period of time when the Soviet Union collapsed and Cuba lost its surplus and support from that communist country. And Fidel Castro called it a special period. It was about 10 years or so where they rationed the food, and it was long lines. You and I were down there during some of that special period. You remember the blackouts?
Yes, I do remember that.
Yeah, the power blackouts. You'd be preaching and all of a sudden the power go out. You're taking a shower, the power goes out for several hours. And in fact, I was in one place preaching, and somebody, I don't know the whole deal, but basically went over and bribed somebody in the the electrical facilities, and we had power back on in that whole area. It wasn't from the church; it was from the Providence we were in. So, anyways, so many great stories, funny stories, and wild stories of how they survived down there. But this is what they're getting involved in once again. And I wanted to bring you to this one part of this article that is absolutely telling about what is going on. And Jennifer, just chime in anytime you want. But I want you to see this where the Minister of the Economy is relating right here. It says, she said in March, Cuba produced 900,000 fewer eggs than the 5.7 million needed daily to satisfy national demand. That deficit shrank to 600,000 in mid-April, she said. The production of the pork, the most consumed meat in Cuba, and normally an affordable staple of most people's diets, is hundreds of tons below target. And so you get an opportunity, go read that. But what's your take on that? I mean, concerning this crisis that they're facing, knowing that you've been down there and how they've suffered?
You know, my heart goes out to them because being down there in the past 14 years, it has been a struggle. It was a struggle then, just for their normal supplies that they get. They get these little ration cards every month, and they get a certain portion. And then, the average pastor only makes like $10 a month. Right. But yet, I remember going into some stores, and there'd be one of the oscillating fans that we can buy at Walmart for $10, $15. It would be $100. Right. So, but even back then, they would have to choose: do I get a fan, or do I go buy some more meat for my children, or do I get milk for my children? So I can't imagine, what they're going through. I can't imagine the mothers of okay, well, now we don't even have eggs, which breakfast is their main meal.
Right. It's a huge meal.
And they can't, like here in America, we can stock up. We have freezers. We have, different things like that. They do not have a freezer. Most of your normal people down there, they don't have a freezer that they could stock up, eggs and bread and things like that.
That's true. Yeah, that's true. And, so many things we take for granted, as just normal convenience is a huge luxury to them.
Yeah.
You mentioned the freezers, but the refrigerators themselves, they can be several years of a salary just to get a refrigerator and a nice one, and they're not that big. They're actually maybe 2 sizes bigger than the college type of refrigerators we see here in the States. And I just wanted to bring this out, number one, because it's a very close to our heart as a ministry, Ignited Church, and we do a lot of ministry in Cuba, and we support our pastors down there. But I want you guys to be praying and just realize when you see these headlines and war drums being beaten and this whole rah-rah shiskambal, we're going to go to war, we're going to squeeze these nations, Venezuela and Cuba and all over the world it seems to be. Remember, there's a human toll. There's pastors there. There's children there that are suffering, and I just don't want us to lose sight of that. So please pray for Cuba. And I want to tell you this as an inside story. We received an email from a pastor here in the States who does work down there, and we're all associated together. We've traveled together. There was a pastor that was going to go buy some chicken for the meetings that they were going to have. Pastors are coming from America, and they feed the Cuban pastors and their wives during these conferences. And they went to get the chicken because they had heard there was chicken at this particular store, and lines are already starting. As you saw in the beginning of this article, I showed you the line. The lines are starting again. And this pastor had a cell phone, and he called another pastor to tell him, hey, chicken is being sold here, so that they could kind of group together and get as much food as they could according to the law and according to the rations, and take care of the entire team. Well, the police saw him make the phone call. They thought he was part of the black market, thought he was hoarding, and they arrested him. A good, solid, believing, just a pastor that loves God. And they had to go over to the jail, these other pastors, and explain to the authorities that this is not what they were doing. They're just trying to get food for the conferences. And then in the email, he says that the other team member said, you need to bring your own food from the States so you can take care of yourself while you're there in Cuba during those couple days that they're going to be there.
In all the trips that we've made in 14 years, we have never had to bring our own food.
Right.
Now, we might have brought a Snickers bar, or a thing of Pringles just because we wanted
a snack,
a little bit of home.
Yeah.
But I've never had to carry my own food to take down there.
Yeah.
Never. Not in 14 years. And I really hope, Pastor, people are paying attention.
Right.
Because one of the things there were 2 things I wanted to share, because I know all the reports that the economy is great and everything is wonderful and, life is grand. But I really hope people are paying attention, because it is not what you think.
Right.
And you need to pay attention to Cuba and other places and learn from them. We have a chance to learn, and we need to know what to do, because we need to prepare now. Whereas in Cuba, they haven't been able to prepare.
No.
They can't.
No.
But at work the other day, our plant manager was talking about, there was an article that said every U.S. car company is down 30% in car sales so far this year.
Wow.
The only one that is not down is Tesla, because they're doing something that no one else can. But as you know, they've just done more tariffs. And I don't think people really understand the economics of it.
Right.
Because, and let me just give you an inside story of some things that I know. so that you can paint the whole big picture.
Right.
Okay. There is a auto manufacturer that just put a plant in Charleston, South Carolina.
Okay.
They make a vehicle that actually is shipped and sold to China. So we just put more tariffs on China. So China and the manufacturer says, I can make this vehicle cheaper in China or in Europe. Why do I need the U.S.?
Right. Right.
So what does that mean? That means that the people that work at that plant could lose their job.
Wow.
And those that because they have contracts for every little part that goes into a vehicle, think about it, they would lose those contracts as well, which means a loss of jobs for the U.S. So we're not hurting China. They're just going to make a business decision and say, well, we don't need you. We'll just do it in Europe, or we'll do it back in China.
Right.
We are so intertwined together. I don't think people realize how intertwined the global economy is.
Right.
And, it's really I think you said it the other day, it's a race to the bottom.
Right. So there's no real America First mantra in this global economy. I mean, we're all, like you said, interconnected, and if we start pulling the foundations of another country, their economy, if we start pulling it out from underneath them, the dominoes come back towards us.
Yes.
Wow.
I mean, think about it, because that means, and I saw an article today that said Walmart might be increasing their prices because of the tariffs.
Speaking of that, you mentioned Walmart. I had to jump in because I just saw an article that Fred's is closing 104 stores, 100 plus stores. Yeah, I don't know if Fred, wherever you're watching, I don't know where you're watching us at, but Fred's is kind of like a miniature Walmart per se, and they have some pretty cheap prices, and a lot of that stuff's China
It's
material.
all China.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. So we are intertwined together. Yeah. And think about it. If you were running a business and one country that you're making product in is going to start smacking you on the hand, business-wise, because it's all about money right now.
Right.
You would move that plant too.
Right.
You would say, you cut your losses and say, let's do it over here.
Right. And another thing I think people are not looking at is there's no loyalty to another nation.
No.
China doesn't have loyalty to us, and we don't have loyalty to China. That's obvious. And I just read an article where China is making this personal. In other words, they're going to go to the people and say, buckle up, it's hard times. Where, that's not done in America. No. America is free willy, spend, do what you need to do, go further into debt, ride out the storm. That's not a big deal. Where these other countries, they don't do that because they're used to hard times. So this is a very tough place to be in when you're in the dark, like we are right now.
Yes, absolutely.
Wow.
I was talking to someone that's a friend of this ministry's out in the Midwest, Iowa, Nebraska, things like that. And they are farmers. And right now, corn and I think it's soy, they were telling me, is like 10 cents a pound less than it was last year.
Okay, now somebody would say that's not a big deal.
Well, it is to a farmer.
Right.
Because think about it, a pound, you're not selling 3 pounds when you're a farmer. It adds up.
Right.
But the other interesting thing she said to me was that right now they are not planting corn because the ground is too wet. They're not planting the corn because it's supposed to rain like last night, today, tomorrow, Sunday, Monday. I mean, it was like 5 days of rain. The ground is too wet. Now think about this. They just had all kinds of flooding. So anything that they had in storage is ruined. So our reserves are gone. They're dead. And we're not planting for the next crop. So, I'm thinking maybe I need to buy up some more flour. I need to buy up some more corn tortillas, cornmeal, different things like that while the prices are low before this really hits.
Right. Well, that's one thing we've been doing. We've never stopped preparing. We've never told anybody to stop preparing. In fact, we've told you to increase, because it seems like there's no wind blowing, there's no rain, there's no storm clouds. People just get really lazy, and they become seasonal. They're seasonal preppers, or whatever you want to call them. And you have to be on guard at all times, because this information we're giving you has always been there. These are the things. It didn't just creep up on us. This has been underlying, underneath all the propaganda that America has been fed over the past couple of years. That's not good for the farmers. And any farmer watching us, we love you. We're praying for you. I pray for our farmers in this area here in Georgia. We had all that rain a couple months ago, and they're just now, we live around a farm, they're just now getting the land ready to grow. I don't know what they're going to grow, but I think they're kind of out of season right now, or they're off their cycle. Yeah,
they've never done that before, because they always, the soy... no, it's canola. Canola should be harvested right now. And they haven't even planted it, because I always remember around here,
I'm laughing.
It's yellow flowers, and it's absolutely gorgeous to watch the field with these yellow flowers. And there's a field across the street from our house, and you would see these graduates get out of their car to go take a picture in this so-called beautiful field of flowers, and they have no idea it's canola, and it's just hilarious.
But I was thinking the same thing, and it's not just graduates; it's just people. You'll see people with out-of-state tags or whatever, and they just pull over, and the picture's great.
The picture's great, but it's in the middle of a canola field.
So they're behind, and that's a big product here in this part of Northeast Georgia. So, wow. A lot of things are happening, and I hope you guys don't mind this video. It's kind of like a fireside chat. We're just a little comfortable here hanging out with you. We wanted to do this for a long time. We've just been so busy, and if you saw how many hats we wore,
yes,
it would be pretty funny. Again, guys, please pray for Cuba and what's going on down there. We're doing all we can to support our pastor that we have down there, and some other pastors and friends that are a part of the ministry in that country. So continue to pray for them. Pray for our farmers. Pray for the understanding of the economy, where it really is, to be placed on your family members, and in their so they would be awake.
Yes.
This is going to snap. I'm telling you, this trap is going to snap, and it's going to be so devastating, because look, people are just not ready. When you have, of course, this was another country, this news report, but when you have somebody who was an Instagram star or whatever, and they lost, I think they had people voted him down or whatever, they didn't get a positive review, jumps out of a window and kills himself. I believe this is over in Malaysia, and it happens here in the States. If that drives a person to eternity, imagine what a hungry belly's going to be.
Yeah. Exactly.
So,
Pastor, the past couple of days in my spirit, I have been sensing, whatever you're going to do it now.
Right.
Whether it's you need to fix the vehicle, or buy a storage shed, buy another freezer, whatever it is that you are desiring to do, you better do it now while you can.
Right.
Because there's coming a day when you can't.
Right.
And you're going to look back and say, man, I missed that opportunity. I should have bought it then.
Right.
And it's really been strong in my heart, because we have a window of opportunity right now. So I encourage you to do it, whatever it is, if it's more stock up, if it's more, you can buy seeds. There's a lost art of teaching this generation how to grow your own vegetables.
Right.
They have the cans. We got them once. It's like 5 years of seeds. Yep. It's a little expensive, but buy it. That's 5 years of food that you can grow.
Yeah.
But whatever you're going to do it now while you have the chance.
Yeah, and don't be weary in well doing. You know, people get weary. They say, "Well, we've heard that before." I mean, this, you know, do what you need to do. Do it now. We've heard it before. You know, it doesn't matter. Do what you need to do and do it now. It doesn't matter. Continue to be faithful. A watchman doesn't take vacations. A watchman doesn't take breaks. A watchman watches at all times and prepares and hollers, if you will, and says, "Hey, the storm is coming." And so that's great wisdom. And when you were mentioning the seeds and the flour and all that stuff, I was thinking about, you know, we've taught our 12-year-old son how to make bread, fresh homemade bread. He can go in the kitchen right now and make it, and we're going to do that. We're going to actually make more bread because you know, when that crisis comes for our farmers, it's going to hit us.
Yes.
And what's so hard about taking a Saturday as a family, making, you know, a dozen loaves of bread, if you will, and freezing them properly? Yeah. Or whatever, you know, it's just wisdom. And you say, well, what if 12 months go by or 6 months go by and I don't need it? Take it out and eat it.
Yes.
You know,
yes.
Share it with somebody. Rotate your stock. It's going to be a blessing anyways to somebody. We don't let anything go bad. We cycle it and we get it out to people who need it, and we just stay prepared. And so that's just great wisdom in this hour. Anything else you want to mention? Just, you know, some economy things. Just get ready.
No,
gold and silver.
Gold and silver, absolutely. And you know, as you were saying that, I was looking here on the screen about Cuba. I'm sure if you talked to them and they said they had the opportunity to stock up, they would, to avoid the long lines.
Absolutely.
You know, to avoid the struggle. And that I'm sure if you would ask them, you know, if you had the chance to stock a little bit up, would you have done it? 100 times they'd have said yes. Absolutely. No matter what. Yeah.
In fact, our one pastor down there, I'll just call him Pastor M. Pastor M. He would email me, and every so often he'd say, "It's getting a little rough here. You know, it's getting a little tighter." And then all of a sudden, what he knew was happening on the ground started coming up in the news. And so, you know, we had that inside information and you know, helped them prepare. And, you know, again, you're down there, you can only store so much. And if you have the money, it doesn't matter. They don't have the supply. Yes. And if they do have the supply, they tighten their grip over it, and you just can't get it. So, you know, we need to just learn. I think that's the bottom line as we close. Learn from these other nations. Don't be arrogant. Don't be ignorant. Don't drink the Kool-Aid. Don't be intoxicated with the propaganda that this show is going to continue to go and go and go. This is a balloon. Yes. It is a balloon that has a certain point to where it can't take in any more air. And I believe that we're near there. And a war or wars may be enough to pop that balloon. And I don't have time to go into what's going on in Iran and the craziness there, and the Saudi Arabia calling for attacks on Iran. Of course, you know, Israel has its position as well. I mean, we are living in very dangerous days, but we're also living in very exciting days, and we're going to keep the faith. And we're going to keep running with fire. Amen. Until we see the Lord Jesus. Amen. Before we go, I just want to talk to you real quick, and I'm going to promote your book because you wouldn't do it, so I have to do it. As you know, I've written a couple books, and my wife Jennifer has just finished writing Pursuing Him in Spite of Them, and this is an awesome book. And normally I try to, you know, do a video if we have something new out to promote it, and I haven't had an opportunity, but I want to encourage you. This is not a girl book. It's written by a woman of God, somebody who served with me for about 25 years of ministry, who's known the Lord probably since you was born, I guess. Yes. We always say she was born in the church. And Proverbs 31 woman, mighty woman of God, a prayer warrior, intercessor, a counselor, helps me in the ministry just beyond words. And This book has a lot of stories. Not all stories.
Not all.
Some of the guilty were protected, right?
Yes.
And they're in witness protection. But there's a lot of great stories. So share just a little bit about the book and tell them how they can get it.
Like he said, not every story that I've ever seen or heard in the church is in here. But there are some of the most important ones actually in here. And this is a journey about how, no matter where you are in your Christian walk, whether you are a new Christian or you've been in the church for forever, it is a journey of how that you have to continue to pursue Him in spite of them. Everybody, whether it's the church pew warmer, the guy at the door greeting everybody, or the pastor. Because at some point, and I go through a whole chapter, offenses will come.
Yes, they will.
and I'm going to show you not only in what has happened in our life, but scriptures through stories of men of God in the Bible, how that they did not quit. Mm-hmm. And you can't quit. You can't give up on God because Jesus didn't do it to you.
Right.
It's the
That's right.
It's, the church has
friendly fire.
We have friendly fire, but we have perfected it.
Yes.
Couldn't think of that word.
Yeah.
We have perfected it.
Yeah.
And Jesus pursued us through the cross of Calvary, and He could have stopped it at any moment.
Wow.
But He didn't. And that we need to pursue Him no matter till the day you die.
Right.
You've got to pursue Him with your whole heart. And so it is a very it's a very good book. I think someone wrote in and said that it was anointed and it totally blessed them. Mm-hmm. And so if you just go to Amazon, it's on the website. I think you can just type in my name or Pursuing Him in Spite of Them. It's also on our website.
Yep.
It's on Amazon, but get it. And it's a very easy written book. I'm just a simple person, and there's not like fancy words, and you're gonna, what does that mean? You're gonna understand it totally and know my heart.
I like
so I encourage you to get it and read it and pray over it and ask the Lord to see where you are in this.
That's good. Yeah, 25 years in the making or so for that book, and so I'm so glad that you wrote it. You finally got it out of your heart and into printed page. And so, guys, make yourself available to that. There'll be a link at the end of this description box there of how you can get this book, and you can go to our website as well. Encourage you to do it. It'll be a blessing to you, and it's not going to help her buy a Bentley or a Mercedes. It all goes to preaching the gospel of the Lord Jesus Christ. It all goes into our main fund for the ministry. Mm-hmm. So, nothing wrong with somebody gets royalties for whatever, but that's not how we do it at Ignited. We're so kingdom focused. We have so much passion to see Jesus Christ made famous throughout the world and souls born again. 5 million souls. That's what we're believing for. And like somebody recently told me, they said, "Well, that's just a kind of like a down payment for what God's going to do."
Amen.
And we'll just start at 5 million. Guys, thank you so much for spending time with us just at this casual talk. And thanks a lot, Jennifer, for being with me.
It's good to be here.
Yeah, we love you. And so many people love hearing your voice and seeing you and the ministry that you offer. Guys, thanks again. We love you. Visit our website and visit us here at Ignited Church. We'd love to see you. If you are anywhere in driving distance, come see us one Sunday morning at 10:30 a.m. or Wednesday at 7 p.m. We're going to have a time in the Holy Ghost. And if you need prayer, I'll lay my hands on you. Our whole team will, and we'll believe God for whatever it is. Healing, miracle, salvation, deliverance, it doesn't matter. All things are possible. And remember this, you don't have any troubles. All you need is faith in God. I love you.